Okay, today is August 19th. This is the review for the S&P 500. Welcome to my channel. Get a little disclaimer out of the way. None of what I'm talking about is trade advice. This is all hindsight and review. Do not make trade decisions based on anything I'm saying. This is process mapping. The objective here is to teach you how to think in terms of process. I offer a workshop that does exactly that, helps you break down your process. So what I'm showing you is my process, and that's the main objective. It's just to see how that works itself out in the daily time frame. So let's just get right to it. On the highest time frame, 60 minutes, we had put in a daily pivot. This is the Globex session after taking out liquidity. So if that high time frame pivot is going to hold, and on the week we are below the Globex open on Sunday, then more likely that we are going to go down. Globex session had a big runoff, and in this large leg, we are just getting into premium on that leg after taking out a significant low, leaving a fair value gap. ICT's fair value gap idea. So the probability is that we're going to go lower, I think, based on this idea, and that would be into the lower support areas of these other fair value gaps that needs to be rebalanced. So we're drawing to those gaps because the high is in, and it's the first push into premium for that leg. So because it's a high time frame test, we should expect a high time frame move. Now on the 15-minute, what you see is two things, really. On the bull side, you see a test into high time frame support and a small microstructure break that I will show you momentarily. It had a reasonable belief that it would go higher into this fair value gap and then get tested. So I want to be having my eyes on a liquidity break at 8 or 9:30, and then noticing what prices it tests into as it's going higher. Then from there, based on that, I want to see if I can get involved in the trade going short. So in the 5-minute, you see a couple of things. You see the opening push here. So here's the push into the higher time frame support, and you see a small microstructure push, retest, leaving a fair value gap, and then it runs up into this liquidity, turns around, and then runs lower, kind of in a hurry to get there. Balances and then goes lower and ultimately meets a high time frame objective here for that move, setting up the lunchtime pullback over and above these highs here. Pushes into this level 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then it turns over. Notice the price of the turn. So the context of this move coincides with a 60-minute fair value gap and a 15. So large move expected again. And again, looking for this low here because we've taken this out. So according to the theory, we should be looking for the other side, which is right there. So with that all being what it is, let's quickly review the trades. I normally screenshot the 1-minute chart here, but I'm going to move away from that today. And let's go to the tape. And by that I mean let's go look at the chart and see what we did. So as I bring this up here, I'm going to wind it back to starting point. I made a couple errors. So number one, the very first thing that happened is I executed perfectly for this first trade into the high a day. But the one thing that I did wrong is that once we got on side 5 points, I brought my stop down. And rather than take a stop on the on side and then take the trade again, or what I should have done, what I was supposed to have done, is left my stop in place, which was 62 quarter. Right there. Now, the thing is that on this, I might have gotten taken out, but regardless, I do get taken out. I don't re-engage. This runs down, and then I'm looking here on a short time frame, really honestly opposing the entire narrative in action. So this was an error. I should not have taken that trade. Once I made that error, I just walked away for a good period of time because I didn't expect anything to materialize until maybe the afternoon. There are a number of trades in here, though. So as you see this start to consolidate and a new low and a non-new high and then non-new low and a very small high. And again here, me seeing this fail, 1, 2, 3 times, this has me thinking we're going lower. So I'd want to get that short, and you see opportunity, and I see opportunities to do that here. So then we roll down, and I am really focused on this here. I'm thinking, okay, we've got this large 60-minute fair value gap that I showed you on the the slide there. So I'm really looking at that, and I don't want to engage ahead of that. So as price begins to roll up, I did see one trade right here thinking, okay, a retest of this area I would want to take, but I wasn't ready for what it wanted to do, and as a result, I botched that trade as well. So this is poor execution on my side. But it didn't go all the way down, and I would have been out of it anyway. So the disappointment is that it's a scalp. I knew it was a scalp, and I didn't handle it well. I would have had to have gotten out of it anyways. And then now we start to roll up, and I make another mistake. And then I get ambitious and start to collect myself and go, no, this doesn't make sense. This is going to go up here. I don't know why you're pushing so hard for this to go down from here. And the only reason I did is because it had a lower high. And I thought, it's supposed to fail from there. It kind of did. Then I had a lower high. That lower high tried a couple of times. So it went up, 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 and then started to go down. I said, okay, well, this may roll over. And it did, a little bit. Then it comes into my level, and I'm not touching this ahead of, no matter how it baits me in. It's like, it's short. And I'm like, no, you've got to go through that level. And then once it did, and I executed, started to roll down, and I said, oh no, it's going to do the same thing as it did this morning. And I said, where's my stop? My stop's all the way up here. I'm not going to repeat the same mistake. So then it rolls up, comes back down, and I've got to be on a call. So because it started to pause and play around, I thought, this is interesting. This should just go right down. If it had broken this right away, I'd have been willing to hold on to it, but it didn't. So then it starts playing games again. And I'm going, okay, this is interesting. So I lifted 2, and I only really supposed to have been in 2 anyways. And then it starts to work its way down. And again, it starts to pause here, and I'm going, can this really get all the way down here without a retracement? Probably not. So let's see if I can take some off. So I took one more off there, and then I let it ride all the way down, thinking, okay, that's pretty strong. Maybe it'll get all the way down there. Now, right here, I'm thinking, okay, my retracement level I can't let it get above is 36, and I start going, okay, it's 1-to-1 between here and there. So what should I do? So as I let it come up to 33/4, I said, that's it. If you could push through that, I'm out. And it turns out that was the right decision. And then for the day, because of what it was, I decided not to re-engage, but you see that it makes another fair value gap. And here, and one here after taking out a pivot. On the 5-minute chart, that's a nice engagement. That's a no, as I call that, a no demand bar. So that's reasonable short, I think, with the high as your, not a trade recommendation, but my thought is like that's a reasonable short based on a Wyckoff logic. And then that takes a while to break through, and then ultimately does break the low a day. So I wasn't part of it, but that's the way it worked out. So the process I used was the ICT fair value gap idea, and then a little bit of price action for some scalping, ultimately, I'm not, I'm happy with the fact that the process that I'm using works. I'm not happy with my decision making here. This was poor. This stank. That really sucked because I wanted to scale right there, and my target was the overnight low, and so that makes for a good day of trading and easy to walk away from a day after that. But that is how today turned out. So have a pleasant weekend. I'm off for the next 3 days due to some travel, and I'll be back next Thursday.